podcast. I'm here with Brandon Crane, known for one of my most beloved horror movies, the original It. So welcome, Brandon, to the channel. Thank you for your time.
No, thanks for having me. It's
Uh,
great to meet you.
yeah, you too. So before we talk about it and all the stuff you've been up to in your career, what made you want to be an actor? What attracted you to this career?
It's I kind of fell into it, not
Okay.
gonna lie. Um, yeah, my grandfather was an actor. He was in Gone with the Wind, and I think I was about 4 years old, and he was throwing a party, and there was a lady, I think it was Tony Mannix, who used to date George Reeves,
Okay.
way back in the day, the original Superman. And she thought I was a precocious kid. I think I was doing some Neil Diamond impersonations. He was like hot shit in 1980.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was doing that, and I think the lady thought I was cool, and she didn't know any better. So she thought I was cool, and so she put me to work. Like she's like, "Oh my god, this kid could do commercials." So um, yeah, the first audition I went out for was for a Skippy peanut butter commercial, and with a particular director called Jack Dessort, and he kept me working for like 2 years straight, doing all of the
Wow.
things he was doing. Um, yeah, I mean that's pretty much how it started. We lived in San Diego. I'm not sure how much you know about the California geography, but
I'm familiar with
um,
the basics of it, but yeah.
yeah, I mean it's like driving from Bristol to Manchester like every day. You
Okay.
know, where I grew up, and it's just it was a lot easier then. There were fewer cars on the road, less congestion, but that was my daily thing. That was my after school sport until I was probably eight or nine.
Okay.
And then we moved closer. And as I got more and more work, we would move closer and closer to LA. So, we didn't have to spend all of our time in the
Traveling.
car.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much the start. It was my after school sport.
So what age did you land in LA per se? What was the defining moment where you sort of said, this is what I'm going to do going
Um,
forward?
yeah, I booked this series when I was 8. It was called Otherworld, and I think it was 7 or 8 episodes. Um, Very interesting sci-fi. It didn't last very long, but what's funny is I think we shot episode 1 and episode 4 or 5, one of them, back to back. Um,
Okay.
those are the first 2 episodes that we shot, the pilot and then this other thing. Um, at some point, they decided either I was too precocious or I sucked or like difficult to wrangle. I
Okay.
honestly I don't know, but but they replaced me after 2 episodes, which I think is like the ultimate troll on the audience. It's like, replacing a character, a main character in the
Yeah.
show to see if anybody notices, right? Um, but it didn't really hit me because I know we were shooting the 2 and then we were going to take a break to see if it gets picked up by the network. And I think when it got picked up, they probably saw me as a weak link or something. I honestly, to this day, I have no idea
Oh, wow.
um, what happened, but I was doing a He-Man toy commercial, and and there was a kid. Well, in between takes, this kid was rehearsing this monologue that I did in the pilot, and I was like, "What are you What are you doing?" And he goes, "Well, I'm just practicing lines. I got an audition tomorrow." And I was like, "For what?" Dude, we shot that shit already. It, what are you doing? I told my mom about it, and she took me under the wing, and anyway, my face leaked the whole way home, right? And it was a good lesson. I learned that I was replaceable.
So you're
But
being
to this day,
replaced right in
right.
front of your eyes.
And to this day, I have no idea why. I can only guess. I mean, I was
Wow.
a kid with sort of oppositional defiance disorder, or ADD. Um, you know, there's
Yeah, well, you say
it could
they
have been
shot
a million things.
episode 1 and episode 4 or 5. So
Mhm.
if you were in those episodes, was it not obvious that there was another kid in episode 2 and 3?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's the ultimate troll. Unless they made the character, I haven't watched it in decades, but
Okay.
I don't even think you can find it. It's called Otherworld. Maybe it's on YouTube. I mean, everything's on YouTube, right?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. So, mm, yeah, I mean, if I was the viewer, I'd be like, "What?" Especially now that we can binge watch things, we don't have a week in between to forget what we
Yeah,
saw. It would be pretty noticeable,
just a bit. Yeah.
but they did it, and that's, that was their prerogative. Um,
Wow.
if any of your listeners have any idea why it was replaced, please let me know. I'm still looking.
I need to check this series out. I'll go and check it out and see like if it's that obvious. Obviously, it's a different actor, but I want to see if it's clear as day that it's
Oh
obvious.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, I was this kid's has bird bones, and I'm a little thick. You know, I don't I don't know. It's pretty noticeable, dude. Pretty
Of course.
noticeable.
I'll check it out anyway at some point. Also, I
It
want to
reminds
die.
me. Oh, sorry.
No, no,
Did you get a series over there called Get a Life with Chris Elliott? Did that ever show up over
uh,
there?
what year did it come out? Because
Oh, late 80s, early 90s.
I was born late 90s, so I may have
Okay.
missed it.
That's just Chris Elliott. He's this really funny comedic actor, and if you saw him, you'd know him. But he had a TV series, and it was really funny. He would always have these flashbacks, and in the flashbacks, he'd have different people playing him as a kid.
Okay.
And it's like one episode, it's me. The next week, it's like Magic Johnson or somebody. I mean, just ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
That's the level that I feel like the difference is between me and this other kid, Chris Hebert.
Is that who
Um,
replaced you with that show?
Yeah, yeah, and he was in, like, The Last Starfighter, um, infinitely, I think at that age, a better actor than I was. I mean, I had really only done commercials. "Stand here, hold this, play with this toy," and he was doing films and stuff. So, I mean, it if I was the producer, it would make a lot of sense. I wouldn't have cast me in the first place.
Yeah, well,
Whatever.
you've got to give someone a chance at some point, you know,
Yeah, we
like
gotta start somewhere, right?
yeah, well, that sort of leads into the fact of had you done anything major before you got the role of Ben in it?
Yeah, well, not to that scope, right?
Okay.
I'd been on a show called The Wonder Years for a few years
Oh,
already.
yeah, I'm reckoning. Yeah, yeah.
Um, and that was good training. It was better training. Um, but when I was that age, around that age, from 12 to 15 or so, I was a portly gentleman, right? And so most of the roles that I was given to play were fat kids, third wheel characters, the extra friend or the comedic relief or the
Yeah, yeah.
klutz, the I would do like pratfalls, or I was always eating. There's never really anything substantive for me to do. So in that sense, it was the first thing with any real gravity that I got to do. Um, and I was hungry for that. I was
Yeah.
really hungry for that by that time.
Was
I
you a
needed
Stephen King fan?
something different. I was. I had only read that one book though.
Okay.
About 6 months before they started casting for it, my neighbor, who was a little bit older, and he got me into all the cool music. He got me copies of the Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie. Got me listening to metal. Um, he's the guy that would sneak me the Penthouse magazines and stuff. I mean, it's just he was the old kid down the street, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he got me a copy of it because he wanted me to read The Ritual, where all the kids have sex together, and it was totally taboo. Um, and it was a book you could buy off the shelf. I mean, it just didn't process. So of course you want to read it. So having read that part of the book, before I knew what context was, or cover. And as I read Ben, I was identifying with that character on every single level. Like,
Okay.
I didn't have a dad in my life, right? I was moving all the time because of acting. So I was never in the same school for more than a year or two. Um, friend zoned all the time by girls that I thought were hot. Um, uh, I could relate to. Um, except he's much smarter than I am, right? He was, an architect at birth. Um, if I built a dam, it wouldn't last very long. But anyway, at any rate, yeah, that was it. So I remember phoning my agent and just saying, on the off chance now that they're really making a bunch of Stephen King movies, if they ever do this, you've got to get me an audition somehow before it's too late.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if it's too late, it's too late because the characters is written there 11, 12. We were already a little old for that. So um, I had just sort of thirsted for that opportunity to play myself as opposed to someone who was constantly stuffing their face with food and
Yeah.
saying stupid shit, falling down all the time. Like that was the extent of whatever. I mean, so looking back, that was a lot of acting because that is not who I was. Um, I was not that person, but I was Ben. So I really wanted to try something that was more of a natural fit
No, I
inside,
understand that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, inside instead of just outward appearance. I wanted something that spoke to me, from the heart, and that was it.
Yeah.
So
No, it's good to hear that because I've literally just watched the film again because I wanted to be, fresh on the mind of your
right,
performance. And I really see it because it is a truly good performance. Like you said, you do get friend zoned. Obviously, spoilers ahead, anyone
yeah,
who hasn't seen the film going towards this. But I mean, you should have. It's been out like 30 years. So
yeah, 30 years.
about
Yeah, get out
time.
from underneath your rock. There's no excuse anymore.
Exactly. But yeah, you go see you get friend zoned in that film.
Oh yeah.
You're bullied in that film by some crazy ass people. But
Mhm.
I want to ask you, obviously there's a lot of scenes in that where you go through a variety of things. What were your favorite scenes to shoot throughout?
Um, I loved being with the whole gang when we were doing the final confrontation and
Oh,
working with
yes,
Tim Curry. I mean, that was amazing. That was a dream that I wish never ended,
of course.
because
Yeah.
it was thrilling to work with someone like that. Especially, that was the age when I really just started taking what I was doing seriously. It
Okay.
became less about participation and more about excellence for me, at that point. That's around the age when I really felt like this was something that I wanted to continue doing and maybe, like my grandfather, do it forever, you
Yeah.
know. Um, so that was the number one thing. The second was the rock fight in
Oh,
the
yeah.
quarry.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, that was awesome, right? Getting to throw rocks and do some fighting stuff it's every adolescent boy's dream, right?
Yes.
Um, and then I would say the movie theater scene because it just felt like a massive production. The apparatus was huge in there. They'd rented this beautiful theater,
Oh, wow.
um, filled it with extras, filled it with kids. And we kind of felt like rock stars, like, that was super fun. And then, of course, all the rest of the time that we had together, um, was fun. Getting to work with those kids
Yeah.
was fun.
What was your first experience on the set? The first moment you set foot on the set, like how did you feel? You read the book, you're
Yeah.
Ben. What
Oh
were you
yeah.
thinking?
Well, the first day I actually came to set, it was the set where they were, I think they were doing something with Bev's house, but as an adult. Like I think um, they were shooting the exterior of Beverly's house.
Okay.
So we were there. I remember doing my costume fittings in the trailer there on location. I had 2 weeks of school left in grade 8, and um, I was so quick to tell everybody, "See you later, suckers. My summer starts now." Right. So, they flew me from LA to Vancouver, BC,
Oh, was it
and
Vancouver where you shot?
yeah, yeah, we shot that in Vancouver,
Okay, all right.
Hollywood North, as it was then, and
Yeah.
probably now. Um, so I remember doing that. Tommy Lee Wallace, the director, he
Oh,
had makeup chair, supervising my haircut because it was the same haircut that he had as a kid. It was important for me to have that haircut, I guess. And then I was ushered to the house, and John Ritter was waiting for me.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, that was my introduction to all this, right? I'm seeing a production crew that's 3 times bigger than anything I'd ever seen. Um, and here's John Ritter. I mean, he was one of my heroes growing up, because Three's Company was on for an hour, 2 episodes back to back, 7 days a week. Um, you know, when I was coming up. So he was just an idol of mine, a comedy idol.
Of course, yeah.
And he just opened his arms up, and he reached out to me, and um it was funny. The first question, is we're trying to break the ice. The first question he asked me was, "So what kind of actor are you, Brandon?" I was like, "I don't even know yet, Jeff. I don't know. What do you mean? What kind of actor? Like method? No, I'm not a method actor. I don't know." He said, "No, no, no, no. I mean, when you're reading a script, do you flip through the pages and you're like, okay, that's my line, my line, my line, my line, bullshit, 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 my line, bullshit, bullshit, or do you read it back to front and really get through it?" And I could just tell by the way he phrased the question that the latter was the correct response, right? It's like, "Oh no, I never do that," but I used to do that. Yes. Well, I'm not, I was never really given the benefit of rehearsal or anything like that. So it's really like, just get down to brass tacks.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
What is he saying? Then what do I say afterwards? And when you're doing a project like that, it's so important for you to understand those basics. Like, why are you there? What are you doing? What is the goal you hope to achieve? Because as people, we don't participate in anything without an objective, right? You don't go to the store just to go to the store. You go to the store because you need something.
Yeah, of course,
And
yeah.
yeah, and that was acting like broken down for me by freaking John Ritter, you know. And it really opened my eyes to the calculus behind actually acting and being present,
Yeah.
as opposed to just reciting lines from rote, in the car, opposite my mom, or a friend. It's the night and day difference, to that approach, and it changed everything for me. That was
So
my first experience, um, and they put me on a plane to go back home. So I was back to school on Monday.
after you told them
After
all
I told
goodbye, suckers.
after I told everybody they were suckers and I'll see you later, I'm back to school on Monday, finishing out, for a couple weeks. Um, yeah, and then I come back to Vancouver, and the first thing we shot, or the first thing I shot, was when we climbed down the ladder when we're after Pennywise, and I pick up the pom pom.
Okay.
Um, that was, I mean, that's how, and to me, that was crazy. I was used to non-linear shooting, because you never shoot it front to back. You shoot wherever you can and whatever is the most, efficient.
Yeah.
And but this was something else, dude. I mean,
Wow.
we're like, it's like, hey, let's jump right to the climax. It's very fascinating.
Did you not see that as like does like shooting out of order sort of affect how you act, or are you used to that by now? Hmm.
think it I think it can. I've seen that. I mean, I really think it can. Um, but that was an obstacle we were able to sort of overcome, because the crew, to their credit, and Tommy Lee, to his credit, painted a very rich picture
Okay.
of where we were. Yeah. So, when you're in the environment, um, it makes that much easier. Yeah.
Did you find it easier as well because you'd read the books, so you'd know what was happening each time you were thrown into a scene? Did you reckon that helped you as well, or would you just
No, it should, and it should. Ben Heller will say something different. If you ever get to talk to Ben Heller, our young Stan, his agent told him not to read the book because he didn't want it to impact the way didn't want it to impact his performance, because
okay?
in this sense, the teleplay was much different than the book. It had to be. So the things that happen to us aren't really the same things that happen in the book.
Okay.
So, you would hate to have that baggage, or expect the things that happen to us when they're not what we're supposed to be portraying.
No,
That made sense.
I get that. Yeah, makes
But
sense.
normally, yeah, I mean, normally that makes perfect sense. You want to do as much of that homework as you can. Like that was something that I learned very quickly when I started doing theater, was that you have to understand what it is you're doing, why you're there. You have to have, I mean, it's so cliche when people say, "What's your motivation?" But it's true. Like, why are you there?
Yeah,
And so that way it comes in handy when your brain completely seizes and you go up on a line. How are you going to get yourself out of there when you don't, remember what you're supposed to be saying? um, knowing what you're supposed to do in a very broad sense, at least, will get you out.
yeah. No,
I don't
I
even think
get.
that answers your question, but that's, yeah.
No, that makes sense. As you said, everyone works in a different way. Everyone's going to have
Yeah,
their own methods to acting, as you just said.
true.
Um, I wanted to ask you this because obviously you mentioned early on about working with Tim, and obviously it was a dream come true for you. How much time did you share with him not on screen, but like working with him in the scenes? And was he scary to you as a kid?
I was more intimidated by him just as a person,
Okay,
as an actor, because we were all really familiar with Rocky Horror, Annie. I mean, I think he was in The Hunt for Red October, which was out at the time. I mean, he's a freaking star. I mean, this
yeah,
guy's the real deal. And I remember Legend. I mean, I just remember these iconic performances, and I was intimidated by his resume more than any fear that he could, impart on us as kids. Um, but it's funny you say that, because I never got to work with him apart from when we're all fighting him at the end.
okay.
So,
So not even in the
so when,
distance when you're looking out to
yeah,
him.
exactly, he's not there. They shot his part first, then they shot, yeah, and then they shot mine. So the location of the lake was supremely close to the Baron's set. So, um, maybe 100 meters, maybe
Okay,
from the Barrens. So that's kind of our base camp that day. So I'm walking out as Tim is walking in. Um, and so we're just like passing ships. And that was the first time I actually met him, face to face. And I was such a super fan anyway, because he was also on a TV show at the time called Wise Guy that I
okay.
watched religiously. And I was like super afraid, and I was kind of holding the second AD or third AD's hand as she was walking me towards there, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's Tim Curry." And so she stops him, and says, "This is Brandon. He's young Ben." And Tim was like, "Here I am. Very nice to meet you."
Oh wow.
Not at all what I was expecting. I was expecting some, I don't know, some method actor, you know,
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, it's
yeah, with like
stepping.
yeah, with like the Rada pedigree, who's very, very serious and doesn't have time for
Yeah,
shenanigans. But dude, he was just Tim Curry, and it was so great. Like, it was a great icebreaker, and I felt it was good for me too, because that was one of my first kind of solo things to shoot, and it really helped me with the imposter syndrome.
okay.
Right. I'm about to follow Tim Curry, who was just shooting with this director, and here I
Yeah.
am, some comedy guy who just does like throwaway lines on sitcoms, right? I'm not even remotely in the same class as this dude. And that really, I remember that breaking the ice and making me feel a hell of a lot better about what I was about to do.
No, that's really good to hear. It's amazing to hear these stories about people like Tim or, whoever it may be, how nice they actually are on set or how relatable they are as normal people to like you said, you as a
Yeah.
kid, which is really cool. And it makes things easier for fans. It makes it easier for kids who are working with the adults. So I'm glad to hear that about Tim.
Oh, oh, totally. That guy is, I mean, class act. It was a master class from top to bottom. Um, kind of lost on us at the time, but as we were getting older and getting more experience, you look back on those times and those experiences, and they just become profound.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
you've you've figured out that you passively learned how to do some things just by watching a master at work, and that was just couldn't put a price on that.
Yeah. No, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
When did you I wanna ask you this question because obviously it's this cult thing now that, it's, in my opinion, one of the greatest horror films you'll see. When did you realize it was a success?
I know that it got a lot of views when it aired the first time,
Yeah,
but I
'cause it's on
don't think it.
TV. Was it on TV?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, of course,
yeah,
yeah.
it was on TV, and it was like a two-part event, and I think they did it in a span of a week. Um, and it was a big deal. I mean, millions of people tuned in
Oh,
to
wow.
watch that. I think it's because for television, especially in the States, um, television was really prudish. I mean, um, especially compared to like seeing television when I was in the UK around the same time, or France. Like, um, you know, all day was the watershed, right?
Okay,
Uh,
alright.
in the US. So for us to do something different, I think people were curious. I think it.
And obviously, I know you started doing, conventions in connection to obviously your time on it.
Yeah.
I'll flip back obviously to it in a minute, but what's it like reuniting with the people you worked with on it?
Oh yeah. No, they're my favorite people on the planet, apart from my family. Um, but they are like an extension of family because to together, it sounds corny as hell, but I think together we had the summer of a lifetime, number one. Um, and we accomplished something really big together. If that makes any sense. I know it's corny,
No,
but
it makes
it
perfect
is.
sense.
And so, when I stayed pen pal, and this is the era, right? This dates me. It was before social media, so or even email, honestly.
You're that
When I would
old.
keep in touch with Emily. I know. So when I would keep in touch with Emily, well, Emily would come to LA for pilot season. I mean, everybody from everywhere. I mean, kids from all over the country would come to LA for pilot season because it's almost like speed dating. That's where everything is casting, and networks were throwing. They'd shoot like 50 pilots, and
Okay.
maybe three or four would stick. Right. So, it was a chance to get out and make some money, and earn some credits, and roll the dice for fame and fortune. So she would come out. Um, yeah, she'd come out like during pilot season, and we'd hang out. We'd go to amusement parks and stuff. And then in the off time, we would write letters back and forth because that's just what you did.
Yeah.
Like we weren't. It was prohibitively expensive to make phone calls to British Columbia from LA
Okay,
back
right.
then. So we just that's just how you kept in touch. And I kept in touch with Seth. We had some adventures for a year or so afterwards. Ben Heller actually moved in with Seth
Okay.
after it in LA, and Jared Blankard also moved in with Ben and Seth. So yeah, I mean, we some of us kept in touch, but only really for a little while. And I'd say about 15 years ago. Can't believe I can say that. 15 years ago, Ben Heller was in town, and we met up at my favorite bar in Las Feliz, called Bigfoot, and we had a little catching up session, and it was great. Caught up on some old times,
Yeah.
um, but really nothing until John Campopiano and Chris Griffith's the documentary Pennywise: The Story of It.
Okay, that's the first time you'd
Yeah,
reunited in a long time.
really. Yeah, and I saw Ben. Ben and I were in there on the same day, and as well as Barton Mixon, who did all of the special effects makeup and actually created the visage, the Pennywise face that we know.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's that guy, man. He is the workingest guy if there is ever an application that goes on somebody's face in Hollywood in the last 30 years, Bart Mixon probably did it. I mean, he's such a prolific artist. It's amazing. Anyway, um, and the production manager for the documentary asked if we had ever done conventions before,
Okay.
and I was like, what kind of conventions? Like, I had no idea that um, there were horror conventions. I had no idea. So the first one we did was the year later, and it was Marlon. Marlon. It was me and Marlon, and then our counterparts from the 2017 movie. So
Okay.
Jeremy Ray Taylor and Chosen Jacobs. And we met up at a convention in Georgia. And when I saw Marlon in the lobby, everything came flooding back. You know, it's almost like the losers when they reunite in the movie.
Yeah.
They forget everything. They've led an entire life outside of all that. And but when I saw Marlon and we connected, it was like time was in a vacuum. You know, we were able to more or less pick up where we left off when we stopped shooting. It
That's
was
cool. That's good.
amazing. And then as we went to, we did, I think we did 3 shows in England between 2018 and 2019.
Yes,
And
for the love of horror.
right, and the
I
last one
was
was for the
there.
Lord of War. Oh, right, good, good, good. That was a great show, by the way.
Yeah, well,
That was that was so much fun.
look, it's the beautiful
Yeah,
Losers Club.
there it is. I've got one with that backdrop that I think is so damn funny. Um,
There's one there as
where
well of me and you.
that's it. Oh, dude, look at that.
I,
Look at us. We're
I,
babies.
I know exactly.
Just babies. That was the before time, you know.
Yeah,
That
before.
was
Yeah,
before everything went to shit. Um,
things were
which
always going to shit in some way.
yeah, well, this really accelerated it.
Yeah,
It was very special. But that was a great show. The vibe was great. I
yeah.
loved, Tim Capello
Oh God,
doing
he's there every
doing
year. It's
entirety.
so good.
I know. When I saw the fire come up off the
Yeah,
stage, I was like, there's video somewhere, and you can hear somebody screaming, "What?" Because it was like borderline sensory overload. It was
yeah.
so cool.
I agree.
Um, but that's awesome, man. Uh,
No,
yeah,
it was an incredible day meeting all you guys. Like just speaking to you all about the film. I mean, because Tim was there last year. Um,
right.
I didn't get the chance to meet him because he was heavily busy. But incredible to see him in the UK. Um,
Yeah.
and like Tommy, he was meant to be here, Tommy Lee Wallace, but he pulled out, I think.
I heard. Yeah, I heard he was coming, and I think like Nick Castle and a couple other people. Ever since that show, I've followed that show.
Yeah.
Um, so like every Wednesday when Ben and Neil get on and do their Facebook Live, I'm there.
Would you return?
I'm like, I would love to return. We had the most fun. I mean, you could possibly have. Everyone was gracious. This is my favorite photo op. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, that's amazing with a little Pennywise.
Yeah, that was the mom of the year in the middle there,
Oh
but it was
yes.
awesome. And we had Jared with us because Jared he lives in Leicester, so he was
Boy, he lives in
relatively
England.
close. Oh yeah, yeah. Jared lives in England.
Oh
He
wow.
uh he moved there. I think maybe it was the year before that show, so 2017 or 2018. He moved there. His
Wow.
wife uh was from there, and I think they met in Vancouver, got married, started a family, and then she brought him home, and
Wow.
he hasn't left. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, when I
Yeah,
met
so that
him,
was all. I mean, oh, go ahead.
no, so I was gonna say when I met him, he was like the polar opposite of what Bauer was in those films.
I know. Jared is like the sweetest guy. I mean, I remember. I mean, to this day, like he looks like someone you wouldn't want to mess with.
Yes.
But I mean, the moment he speaks to you, you realize this man wouldn't hurt a fly. He's um, he's just such a genuine, like sweet-hearted person. I mean, when he was supposed to be cutting my stomach, and he's pushing me around, and when we have our confrontation early on, um, every time we weren't rolling or we did a take, he was so into it, but he was also so apologetic. The same thing with Marlon. Marlon will tell you this too. When he's got to say a few tropes and say some things that just you don't say.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Um, he wanted to make sure that Marlon understood that he was just doing his job.
That's
You
good of
know,
him. Yeah.
I mean, the sweetest guy you could imagine. I love Jared. He's great. His family's beautiful. His son is off the charts awesome. And I'd love an excuse to see them again.
Yeah, I'd love to see you all again. Because like I said, you're a great group. I mean, it was a shame, obviously, Seth was obviously the only one that didn't come to the convention. Um,
Yeah,
was there a
yeah, I
specific reason? Because obviously, I know you're all there, or do you not know? Just...
yeah, no, I mean Seth, um, I'm trying to find the best way to say this. I know for a fact that Seth's heart is with us, right? And
Yeah,
and so we give him as much latitude as we think he deserves. I mean, of all of us, not that we're less than, but of all of us, he has in my eyes, he has a brand to protect. He's got a lot going on. And just apart from all of that, he's busy.
of
I
course.
mean, he has so many irons in the fire, so many fingers in the pies. You know, we wouldn't try and steal him away for a week or something. It's just not
Yeah,
logistically possible. I do know that he's interested. It just has to be the right show. I mean, God, if we could we come back to that show, I'm sure we could probably get Seth to come this time.
yeah. Again, I'd love to see all the losers together. Obviously, I want to just touch upon this briefly because obviously I know it may be a touching subject for yourself.
Yeah.
Um, Jonathan Brandis, obviously, who plays young Bill. Yes, his name, yeah. Young Bill. What, 'cause we're coming up to the 20th anniversary of him, sadly passing away in 2003.
Which is
Um,
crazy.
I know, like, what's it like? What was he like on set? Like, what was he, because obviously you're all young and now
Yeah.
you've gone 20 years without seeing the guy. So what's it like?
I mean, uh when we were working with him, I think he was kind of our leader. I think we looked to him, and maybe unfairly, but we looked to him as a leader because he, of all of us, he had worked the most. He'd done feature films. Um, and he had it. He had that spark, and he had the charisma. He had the presence. Um, so we looked to him as a like leader by default anyway.
Yeah,
Apart
yeah,
from him, Bill, who's pretty much the leader of the Losers Club anyway. Um, he was very kind. He was a savage when it came to mom jokes, which is what you did in late '80s, early '90s. Um, he's a good guy. He's a really talented actor, and he was still working. You know, he just finished a movie with Bruce Willis. Um, but there was some depression happening. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
um, we didn't stay in touch, so I was not party to, or did I understand? In fact, it's kind of embarrassing, but I did not find out until the Oscars obituary roll. No
Of
idea.
2004.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I had no idea. I didn't know. I didn't know until his face flashed up on screen, and I was like, "Holy shit! When did I? How did I miss this?" Um, but that was also a period where you could look forward to it playing on American Thanksgiving on the holidays on like Sci-Fi Channel or one of those. But that was about it. I mean, I even then I had no idea that it was really a cult classic. I didn't know people still had their VHS tapes from when it aired the first time.
Yeah.
You know, I had no idea at all whatsoever. But as far as Jonathan goes, um, it's tragic. You know, he
Yeah,
had a he had a bright future, and I think his star still shines uh, pretty bright.
I truly get that. And, it's amazing to see you have such fond memories of him. And like I said, watching the film again this morning, technically, his performance was amazing. You know, you guys did such a solid job, and you all look like genuine friends. I think that's how good your acting was. Like you're not just
Yeah,
acting for the sake of it. You actually look like you've been together for years and years. So,
yeah. Tommy Lee Wallace says that what he got with the two casts, both the adults and the kids, was lightning in a bottle. And um, I don't know how they did it. I don't know how they engineered this group of people who all seem to get along so well together.
yeah,
But they did, and it shows. And I think for a coming of age story, like it really is, you know, even if you took the horror element out of it, it is
yeah,
a coming of age story. And at the bottom of it all, and to have an ensemble that clicks so well is, they say casting is 90% of the work, and I think in this case it really is.
I
But
agree.
I mean, we would fight. I mean, Jesus, when you're like when you're stuck working with somebody for 12, 18 hours a day every day, sometimes your nerves grind. I mean, I know Emily was like fed up with us
Well,
constantly
it's a
talking and
bunch of boys,
constantly
isn't it?
a bunch of boys, and we're always getting her goat about things, trying to get a rise out of her. But she was a champion. She never let us know she was like, we were wearing thin. Maybe Jonathan, like I said, he's a savage. So I mean, if we um, if we didn't get along or we were getting snappy, um, he definitely had the sharpest blade. Put it
Oh,
that
really?
way.
Okay.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I learned a lot from Jonathan Brandis.
It's always amazing to hear talks of these stories, like how fun set was and how good you had with each other. So I'm really glad to hear these stories. Um,
Yeah.
you're obviously one of the lucky ones who returned for the new it. Obviously, I don't think any of the other cast members did the um
No, no, and it's so weird. I still feel some guilt.
trailer. No
Um,
joking.
no, I truly, I
Nah.
know. I still feel some guilt. No, when we 2019, I think it was in March, we did LFCC in Hammersmith,
Okay.
and I remember I got to town a couple days early, and I hooked up with John Campo Piano, um, and Ben Heller at the King George in Soho, and I walked in and I just had to get it off my chest. I was like, okay, guys, listen, don't judge me. Don't please. I don't want to break up the band, right? But I'm in the new movie. I got to tell you, I'm going to be in the new movie, and if that's a problem, let's talk through it, you know. And they didn't really give a shit, which is oh, yeah, which is good. It's just the way that worked out was crazy. Um, so Andy Muschietti drops the trailer, and it breaks the internet.
Yeah.
And so I sent him a message on Facebook saying, hey, for what it's worth, I cannot wait to see this movie. Um, it looks like it's everything I could have hoped, it could be. Backstory, Warner Brothers has been trying to make this 3 or 4 times over the last 20 years
Oh,
as a
okay.
feature. Yeah. And there's always been something, they'll cite the usual creative differences, or they can't get a script, or they just can't. I mean, it just doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So, the rug's been like pulled out from it enough times, but obviously this time it was a thing. It was really happening. But anyway, so I reached out to Andy, and I was like, this is the most insane thing. And he clapped right back on Facebook and was like, hey, I loved you in the miniseries. And we started a dialogue, which was great. So then when the movie premiered, um, I reached out again on Facebook and just told him what I thought of the movie. the things that impressed me the most, the relationship with the kids, because that movie was set at the exact same time that we were shooting ours. So all of the mom jokes, the ragging on each other, all of that humor was exactly the kind of stuff that we were doing
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when we were making the movie. So it was super nostalgic, and I was marveled that these kids could carry a feature film all by themselves. I mean, I haven't seen that really at that scale since Stand By Me. So it was a long time coming. I'm sure there are other examples that I just can't remember, but I was really impressed with that movie. So I told Andy what I thought. I thought this is amazing, and he said you should do a cameo. I was like, what? I was like, dude, I would wear a chicken suit if you asked me to do that. I mean, that's amazing. Really? The universe works this way? Um, and then nothing. And then I realized, he wasn't verified on Facebook.
Oh, so you might have thought it was a fake one.
So I totally thought for the last several months I had been communicating with someone who wasn't who they were, like I got fished, or I fished myself, basically. It was so fucking humiliating for that moment. And then I had this bright idea. I know he was on Instagram and I know he's verified there. So I I went on Instagram and I sent him a DM and a screenshot of the conversation you know, from Facebook. And I was like, okay, hi, Andy. I don't know if I'm being trolled. And if so, it's totally humiliating. But is this a thing? Are we doing this? Something like that. Am I getting
Yeah.
trolled over here? And nothing. And then, you know, it said scene. I was like, okay, great. Not only that, I've humiliated myself.
Left on red by
I've
Andy.
I'm left on red by, Andy Muschietti. Just kill me now, you know. Kill me now. It was like the pinnacle of humiliation, you know. And then it was a little while, like maybe an hour had passed, and I'm sitting here, I'm lying in bed, on my phone, and my wife's like, what's going on?" I was like, "Oh, nothing, babe." Um, certainly wasn't gonna like share my humiliation with her, I'm just too proud. Anyway, so then I get the ding, and he responded and he said, "Ha ha ha ha, I'm the troll." And I was like, thank fuck for that, right? Right. And he said, "Yeah, I really think you should do a cameo." And then we started talking about you know, what? What are we gonna do? They hadn't even written the script yet. So they weren't sure what device they were gonna use. Maybe I'm one of Bev's employees. Maybe I'm Ricky Lee, which is from the book. He's the bartender that's um pouring all of the drinks for Bev
Oh,
when we have
yeah.
this adult band at the Roadhouse. So anyway, I thought, okay, that's great. I can look forward to something amazing now. And but I had to keep it a secret. Couldn't tell anybody. Signed an NDA. I was
Even
going to
for a
convince
cameo.
them. Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, absolutely. Um, Andy said that the New Line did backflips, but I think they really wanted to protect it too, because I think Andy's very deliberate about his cameos. I mean, he got Stephen King, who swears that he's the kiss of death of his own movies. He was able to get Stephen King you know, to be in the film too.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
think he's very deliberate about them, and he makes sure that they're meaningful, and not just trivia, which is great. So anyway, keeping it a secret. I'm at like Monster Palooza, which is one of the biggest shows in the States. And people are asking me, "Oh my God, are any of the losers going to be in it chapter 2?" And I'd already shot it. And I had to tell them, you know, look them in the eye with a straight face and tell them no. No, no, I couldn't.
uh,
I couldn't. But at the same time, I knew that I was under an NDA, and I didn't know if any of the other kids were being asked either.
oh, so it was a big surprise if anyone else rocked up.
Right. So, I mean, If we're not allowed to talk about it, we're not allowed to talk about it. And especially when we're talking about something that's worth that much money, you
True.
know,
Yeah.
you don't mess with that, with business at that scale. Like, you just keep your mouth shut. You
Yeah.
know, my wife is the only person I told. You know, just that's it.
That makes sense.
I'm not gonna mess with that. And if I haven't done anything in 10 years, my first thing back, I'm not gonna go out of my way to screw that up, right? So I had to lie to these people, and I felt so bad. I felt like such a piece of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I know what you
Honestly,
mean.
they want you to be candid with them. I mean, when you're talking to them and they're pouring their their hearts out to you and telling you what the movie meant to them,
Yeah.
and they're genuinely curious, and they expect the truth from you, and I couldn't give it to them. And in
Well,
fact, the more I think about it, the more, wow, what a dick. But I couldn't, couldn't do anything about it. So
no, I get it. I
yeah,
get it. Well, it's a similar
yeah. So, but
scenario.
well, I was secretly hoping that as I'm talking to Ben and I'm talking to Marlon, that they were going to be like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm in it too."
But no,
And
they
I
didn't.
thought that was just such an amazing relief, that we're all just kind of keeping each other in the dark, but because we're all in it in some, fashion. But it didn't work out that way. But wow, I mean, the fact that I got cast in a movie through an Instagram chat still boggles my mind. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, if you think
Anyway,
about it, you know, you are now the unofficial leader of the losers. So it only makes sense because, with obviously Bill no longer being here, of the younger lot, you are the leader of the losers. So therefore, you deserve to be in this film.
we could, no, I don't know. The only thing that I
I
think
know.
that the only thing that I know that the rest of the losers can look to me for when we're together is where the snacks are. That's it.
Fair enough.
That's it. That's
Everyone's
it.
got their role to play.
That's right. That's right. I will get the snacks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's a good
But
job, though.
yeah,
That's a good
yeah.
job.
So that was it. That was how I got into chapter 2. And then, we shot it in October, and the film didn't come out until September the following
Oh,
year. So
that's a long time.
exactly. So, you know, the better part of 2 years, I had to live with this kind of, well, okay, like live with. That's kind of, that's a little dramatic.
I know what
It's
you
not
mean,
like
though.
it's an affliction, or my truth. No, it's not like that at all. It's just, you know, I don't know.
No,
I,
I
I
know. I
had
know where you're
I
coming
had
from. It's
I
a
had to
hard thing.
refrain
Yeah,
from being forthcoming for too long, and I can't believe it. I surprised myself that I could keep a secret that long,
yeah.
because
Well,
I can talk, bro.
well, you have your own podcast, so you're destined to talk.
I'm
So,
destined to talk. Yeah.
but this situation that you're in was sort of similar to Skeet Ulrich's, from Scream.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
him and Matthew Lillard were for Love of Horror last year. Everyone
Nice.
kept on peppering Matthew Lillard about is he going to be in Scream 5? And
Right.
turns out no one had asked Skeet if he was going to be in the film, and turns out he was in the film. So it's like
Right.
he wasn't being peppered,
Right.
but Matthew was being peppered.
Right.
It's kind of funny though. I hope did I spoil the film for you?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay,
No,
I'll probably
we're
spoil it for
good.
someone else that's coming there thinking it's all
Right.
about
Yeah.
it.
But you know what? It's if they didn't jump on it right away, that's their own problem. Like, I'm
Exactly.
ready. I'm gonna try and revisit Terrifier 2 with Damien and Dave again.
Is it good by
Um.
the way? I'm obviously it's not in the UK
Uh,
at the moment, so
oh, that's right. They didn't do that. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I took my 16-year-old last Saturday night. Um, Father of the Year. Father of the Year.
isn't it meant to be
Um,
quite gory?
it is the most fucked up movie I've ever seen.
Okay,
Sorry for the language, but
that's fine.
it's truly the most fucked up movie I've ever seen. I loved it. Um, it's groundbreaking. Let's put it that way.
That's good. I'm
It's
really
just
excited
groundbreaking.
because the first one was so good, and obviously I know the budget's gone up, the scale of it's gone
Oh
up,
yeah,
so
yeah.
it's
No, I mean, there's the first Terrifier was shot without any irony
right.
whatsoever. I mean, it is what it is. People are like, "Oh, you did the whole grindhouse throwback style." No, it's not. It's totally unironic. It was shot with what they had, and that's what they had.
Yeah,
You know, it's all heart. And passion. Um, I will say about Terrifier 2 is that this movie has an incredible amount of polish.
okay,
Right. So it worked really well in the cinema for
that's
sure.
good. Yeah, well, I
It's a
hope
great
I hope we get it in cinema
great
over
film.
here because I don't think we can watch it on cinema. That's the only thing. So,
I think yeah, I mean in the States, the MPAA didn't even look at it because it's a limited release. It wasn't destined for a theatrical release in the first place. So the
okay,
MPAA never got to it, so it isn't even rated. Um which
it's
is
not
good and bad.
it's not rated. Wow.
It's not rated in the States. No. It was only, and you know what? It was only supposed to go last weekend. And I think they put it in about 850 screens.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
And because it did so well, they're going after it again this weekend. So
Wow,
it's
that's
going to
amazing.
carry over at least another week. So as long as there's demand, it'll keep playing. And I think that's just amazing for them
Yeah.
because now I don't know how much they have to give the distributors. I don't know, I don't know how much that's going to cost, but in the first weekend they made like 1.2 something million
Wow.
in box office receipts. So they shot it for 250, 300. I mean, they already got their money. They got on night one, they got their money back.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to need a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo for
Nah.
Terrifier 3. I think now,
Yeah.
considering what they were able to do with that budget, if they're able to save any of that money from the box office receipts, then we'll have an even bigger film. And yeah, it's maybe Damien Leone won't be an indie director much longer.
I think the thing is,
That's
even if
my thought.
I think he's already done better than most, horror directors at such a quick pace. It's crazy how he's just gone headstrong into two films and they're already cult classics. Obviously, I've
Oh,
not
I
seen the
know.
second one. It's mad.
No, it's amazing. They are, and they are. I mean, you've got a couple of star turns. It's a star turn for Dave.
Yeah,
Being up on
absolutely.
the big screen, which is amazing. Lauren Lavera is fantastic as the main protagonist. Um, that's making her a star.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's good. Their futures are set,
Yeah.
honestly.
I can't wait for it, to be fair.
Yeah.
To see where these guys go, because full credit to them,
Uh,
you know.
yeah.
Um,
No, it's good. We're actually contemplating going back this weekend to watch it again. So
you may as well make the most of it. As you said, if it's a limited run, then may as well check it out. Oh my god.
it's cool. Let's see you, dude. A little suspense music right now. That's what we need.
Full credit to you, Brandon. I appreciate your patience. Just
No, shit happens, man. It really does. But the question is, did you get what you needed to get in that last bit? Did it record?
it's still recording right now, to be fair. So I think it just
Oh, did it?
continues straight away.
Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, okay. I had to get that out of my system.
That's fine. Um, yeah, I just asked you. Obviously, I just said obviously make sure you watch it in the cinema whilst it's
Oh
there.
yeah. No.
Yeah,
It's meant to be viewed on a big screen. I think that's where I was going. I think anytime I run off the rails with like I get into a diatribe, that's when Sky says no more.
No,
No more.
honestly, talk as much as you want, please, because I've waited such a long time to talk to people, to you lot from it, and I appreciate your time. And as I said, it is one of my all-time favorite films, and it's a credit to talk to you.
Have you gotten a chance to talk to anybody else recently?
I wait, this is like during COVID. Marlon, I messaged him over Instagram. We were gonna talk, and then he must have gone busy or something because he never got back in touch.
Oh, okay.
But no, Marlon's the closest I've come to speak. I'd love to speak to them all, but they're not the easiest to get hold of.
No, no, no. I mean, Emily, she's in the middle of a career change.
Okay.
Um, so she's and she's like fiercely private. So the fact that we even got her to come do a con in the States at the beginning of the month was a coup. Like it
Oh,
was
really?
I mean,
Is
yeah,
she trying
going to
to?
England or Germany, no problem whatsoever. Coming to the States, she just wasn't. I don't know. She's just you go to London, you go to London. It's an
Yeah, no,
amazing place.
yeah,
But yeah, but it was
but
great. That last con that we went to was in Bangor, Maine, which was the pretty much the seed from which so many stories that Stephen King has written
yes.
has come from. So we got to tour all the landmarks and we did some photo ops in front of like Stephen King's house. I mean,
Oh,
it
really?
was cool. Yeah, it was great to like actually physically see the inspiration for so many of the places in these books.
Oh, wow.
It's yeah,
So
it
were
was
you
it
all
was a great
there?
experience. Yeah, so it was well without Seth, but it was Ben, Marlon, Adam, Emily, and me and John Campopiano from the documentary.
Yeah.
He brought some of the screen used Pennywise costumes for people to
Oh,
take photos with. And he was signing posters from his documentaries, which is great. I mean, he fits right in with us. And frankly, we probably wouldn't be doing conventions if he hadn't, you know, done that the documentary. I almost said documentary. That's a good way to do it. Um, yeah. Now I speak English very goodly. Um, but Bart also came along too, the special effects guy, the makeup effect uh, designer. I mean, he's so good. And it was his first time as a guest at a convention,
okay.
which just seems like a crime because, like I said earlier, anything that needs some kind of application, there's Bart. I mean, he's there.
Yeah.
I think he has a lot of fans that he doesn't know about, and he's got so many amazing stories to tell, and um, it's great for someone like him, a real legend, to be able to talk to fans.
Yeah, no, I agree because it's similar scenario. Tom Levine, who I think worked on the first Jason film, he's at Love of Horror this year, so he's in
Yeah.
that sort of world of designing costumes. So
Oh,
people love
oh,
that
for
sort of
sure.
stuff. It's
Oh, for
just
sure.
yeah,
No, that guy's. I mean, you said Tom Savini, right?
yeah. I originally said Tom Levine for some reason. It's Tom
No,
Savini. Yeah.
we'll fix it in post. He's no, he is a legend. When I talked to Damien about his influences on the podcast, he was quick to cite Tom Savini. I mean, that guy is like the
Okay.
granddaddy of the genre. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, when you get a chance to meet someone like him, you drink it in. And he's
He'll
great with fans too. He makes the time.
yeah.
No question is too stupid.
That's the best way to be. I mean, like I said, I'm going to try and speak to him. Like I said, Damien's there, David's there, so there's a lot of people to talk to. So talk about
Yeah.
Terrifier. So this is the best time to see him in action.
Oh
I'm
man.
guessing.
No, yeah. If you can even get them, I suspect that the line will be an entire day
Oh
to get
yeah,
with Damien and Dave, without a doubt.
yeah. It
I
was the perfect
mean,
time, isn't it? It's going to be launching on streaming service soon. People are going to want to watch the film. People would have watched the film already, so
yeah.
it's going to be
And that's
awesome.
only a week away, right? That show's only a week away.
Yeah, it's a week on week on Saturday. Yeah,
Man.
time
Yeah,
flies by.
we would absolutely love to come back, but yeah. But at the same time too, we're our credits aren't quite as prolific, you know. A reunion's cool. I think something that happened to us, we did too many shows in too quick a succession to, I don't know. It was hard for us to be the draw. You know, when we were at that show, we had just done London a couple months before. We had
Oh,
done
okay.
Birmingham a couple months before that. So, I mean, we saw some familiar faces, but we we'd already been ticked off of people's boxes.
Yeah,
We
well,
kind of we'd oversaturated ourselves in England. So,
I don't think it's just that. I
but
think because the Lost Boys were there that year. I'm not saying Lost Boys is better in any way, shape, or form,
no,
but
no, no. But that was a big deal. I mean,
yeah,
that was a big deal. They had
because Kiefer
Kiefer
Sutherland,
Sutherland
yeah.
showed up. Yeah, you know.
But for me,
So
like I said, I met every one of these. I met all the It cast. I met all the Lost Boys. So for some people, it's ticking a niche for both things. If you
yeah,
love
okay,
both
yeah,
films, then you love both. That's just the way it is. Yeah. I just want to revert back to some of the It stuff. Stephen King
yeah.
obviously being the guy who wrote it. Did you meet him? Did you meet him?
No, never met him. I know he was home when we were doing our photo op in front of his house. And I think it took every bit of restraint for Marlon not to climb the gate and get arrested or shot. I don't know, how Stephen King gets down. And he's only at that home, 2 or 3 weeks out of the year, and he just happened to be home when we were there. But I think we all sort of resisted the temptation to jump the fence and knock on the doorbell and ingratiate ourselves. But yeah, none of us had ever met Stephen King,
I'm sure he would have
which
loved
seems
it.
crazy. After 32 years, the fact that we've still never met Stephen King is nuts.
So he never visited set, not once.
No, and I remember listening to a podcast um with the Losers Club, the Stephen King podcast. They talked to Tommy Lee Wallace a few years ago. I remember Tommy Lee saying something s- about Stephen not coming to the set, and it was like purely speculative as to why. And I think it's just because it was for television, man.
Fair
I
enough.
don't know. He didn't have a whole lot of input. Um I know he worked with Larry Cohen, who did the teleplay for the first night
Okay.
by himself. Um, but he sort of dropped the second half. He did a kind of a quick slapdash second night,
All right. Okay.
because I think his attention was divided on other things. They were working on a musical version of Carrie. Um, so poor Tommy Lee Wallace was stuck, you know, as the director in pre-production with an air date, having to write a teleplay for a Stephen King novel. It was
Stephen
the
King wasn't
second
really
night anyway.
interested in.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he wasn't interested. I from what I understand, he enjoyed it, but I think maybe this was part of the kiss of death thing too. He's been known to say that he's the kiss of death for his movies, so maybe he was
Oh, I
steering
see.
clear because this was his epic. This was the big one.
Each to their own, I
Silly, we
suppose.
all would have loved to meet him. Yeah, we would have loved to meet him.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
he is the horror icon. He's one of the greatest people to be involved in horror ever.
yeah,
So, he's a
yeah.
legend. Um,
He is.
just want to revert. I'm sort of going back and forth between the it's modern and past.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
you've worked on both films. This is going to be a tough question because obviously I know you love the original and do you like the new ones?
I love the new ones.
Yeah. So my
They're
question is,
different enough.
yeah. Well, this is where my question comes in. What did the original do better that you think the new one didn't do as good? But what did the new one do better that the new one didn't do as good? The old one didn't do as good. If that makes any sense.
No, it does. Totally makes sense. I think the atmosphere, the sense of foreboding, right? The gloom over Derry was very present in ours.
Yes.
Um, so the scene was painted very dark in ours. I also think that Tim Curry's Pennywise, even just from the outside, is more seductive for children.
Yeah,
I
to
feel
lure
like
you
if
in.
I had
Yeah.
seen, yeah, if I had seen, I mean, to me, the most frightening thing in that entire movie happens in the first minute. And that's when Lorianne is on the tricycle and she sees the clown smiling and giggling behind the billowing, sheets.
Yeah.
And then you see his face change and he's ready for lunch. That change is absolutely terrifying. On a psychological level,
Yeah.
really. It's because it's not about even the teeth. Uh, when you do the teeth, yeah, we see the teeth and we understand what's happening now. But just the face, the grimace that he has behind the curtain is ridiculous. I
No,
mean,
I
it's
agree.
it's that's nightmare fuel, really. Um, in ours, I also liked how our characters were very, very distinct. We were all very different, completely separate archetypes. I think there was a little bit of that muddled in the first one. Although, I mean, it must be said, I love the way I loved their chemistry. I think I think they went to some really dark places in the new
Oh,
film with
yeah.
these kids, and I think they handled it better than we could, for sure. Um, I mean, it's speculation. We were all pretty awesome back then too, but I don't know. I don't know.
No, I get where you're
Um,
coming from. I get it. Yeah.
and I think Tommy did a great job um, with little support from Larry Cohen on the second teleplay. So I mean, everybody's like, "What's up with the spider? What's up with the bicycle?" People have their opinions about that, but I think as a from a storytelling function, it's perfectly adequate. um, I loved in it chapter 2. I love how the film starts off with the same vibe as the first part,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but by the time we get to the end, um, it is this colossal epic, this fantastic epic, with choirs singing in the score. I mean,
Yeah.
Benjamin Wallfish's score is one of the greatest scores I've ever heard. Um, so he's I mean, I think they both have their strengths. They really do. And they both have their weaknesses, but I think all told, they both communicate the story and they do respect the book in their own way.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
I
no
agree.
way, even with today's technology, there's no way you'd have the battle with Maturin in space. There, there's no, it's just impossible.
Yeah.
It is impossible, even for Hollywood, to do that.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, the I think in order to tell a story that is respectful of the source material, but also um, good for the audience, is difficult
Yeah.
in many many respects. And I think both adaptations had their own difficulties with that.
No, I agree because
That's
you could love them for their own reasons, and I get that because if you watch the first one of the original, it jumps back and forth between the adults and the kids. Whereas you
like
watch
the book.
the yeah, but where if you watch the new one, the new chapter one, I believe it's just the pure kids in the first one, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it's
it's
very
just the
different.
kid, and there's no commercials. So, like, you
True.
know, it's yeah. So I mean, my hat's off to them. Like I said before, the fact that they carried this film by themselves is just astounding,
Yeah,
and the job they did was unbelievable. And then the
absolutely.
second, in chapter 2, you do have some of that flashback stuff because they're remembering things. They're remembering their childhood.
Yeah,
It's an important device to have them in the film. So there's no getting around that. And in that respect, I think they were able to keep the same kind of nonlinear format that the book does too. So it's kind of a nod to that as well.
yeah,
But then by the end of chapter 2, like I said, it's an epic. You're watching, like the battle of the gods, in some Lord of the Rings thing.
yeah.
Um, it's incredible.
Oh, it was insane, that final battle when they're all just surrounding Pennywise with his like 6 feet or whatever the creature he turns into. It was such an incredible final battle.
Oh, that was crazy.
But what I want to say is this: I don't know how to properly word this, but like you reflect on how good the original It was. You guys, excluding Tim from this statement, you weren't the most well-known kids, so you didn't know, the huge anticipation of the success of the film. But the newer
Right.
It, you brought people in like Finn Wolfhard, Bill Skarsgård. You brought in big batters, known for Stranger Things and stuff. So you expected it to be a success.
Right.
So my point is like, how do you reflect on that? Like, are you happy with how huge a success yours is because maybe the modern one was always destined to succeed because of the success of those actors? If that makes any
Maybe.
sense.
No, it does make sense. I know what you mean. For the time,
Yeah.
everyone that they cast was seasoned. I mean, we were all seasoned in our own way, right?
Yeah, I know you
It
all
was,
did use. I didn't mean any disrespect or any of that sort
yeah.
of stuff. Yeah,
But I know what you mean. As far as like the star power behind it,
yeah.
you're doing something cool. I mean, originally instead of Bill Skarsgård, it was going to be Will Poulter.
Was it?
If Kerry Fukunaga was going to do it, it was going to be Will Poulter,
Mm,
which would have been pretty fascinating, right?
yeah,
Um, it would have been an interesting take too. But for our version, we were never the draw in the beginning. The advertisement, it wasn't about that. It was about the television stars, the American television stars of the day,
yeah,
like all-star cast. In 1990, Tim Reed was on a TV show. Um, everyone knows John Ritter. Everyone knew Richard Thomas, both of them from the Waltons.
yeah.
Um, Tim Curry was on Wise Guy. Plus, he was a film legend. I mean, I think, like Tommy Lee Wallace said, the casting for the adults was just done over the phone. It was literally like the network reaching out to these people saying, "We want you in this movie."
Yeah.
Um, and we were secondary to that. I mean, I think they were cast, and then we were cast after, hoping to find someone that resembled them enough. You know, so I mean, as far as a formula goes for success, I think given the time and given the medium, I think they were anticipating the same thing. I think as far as television actors go. And you know what? To be honest, looking back too, there was a separation. You had character actors like Tim Curry that could work in film and television,
Right.
but Tim was mostly known for film. Everyone else was known for, with the exception of Dennis Christopher, really, known for television. So, you know, they, I think they grabbed pretty big stars for television,
I'd hope it would resonate with fans that are used to television.
knowing that it would resonate.
Right. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then John Ritter at the time, I mean, John, like I said, John Ritter was in syndication with Three's Company. We're watching episodes from the 70s, every day. He was a big deal, especially for television. He was a big deal.
Okay.
So I think it's the same for both, given their respective mediums.
Yeah. No, that makes absolute sense. I just wanted to get
Yeah.
that across to see what you thought about that because
Oh
you know,
yeah. I mean, but the kids, like you say, I mean, we were working, but we weren't celebrities. We weren't stars. Not everybody had seen. Um, Not everyone had seen the Never-Ending Story Part Two. It's totally different.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. It's the same thing. Like with kid actors on Goonies, for example. You think of Josh Brolin back then, wasn't the kid of the kid. But you look at him now, he's Thanos in the MCU, for
Right.
example. So it's
Sure.
he made a name for himself back then doing whatever he did.
Right.
And that's why it was so good, the 80s and 90s films, because you had these kids who you never knew what would do going forward, but they made some of the best films in that time
Yeah.
period. And that's
Yeah.
why these films
And
resonate so much with people my age, you know.
well, I think of like, Bill Paxton in Weird Science.
Yeah.
I think of a lot of these people that had very humble and interesting beginnings, who would
Yes.
go on later to do some pretty amazing things. That's these guys for sure.
Ah, absolutely. Um, just a couple more questions just to wrap things up very
Oh,
soon.
sure.
Um, what do you see yourself doing forward? I know you said you're doing a bit more theatre and stuff. So outside of it, what's your plans? Because obviously you're still going to do conventions and stuff, aren't you? I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of transitioned away from any of that. I did a lot of theater after that. I wanted to do something else entirely. And I got kind of roped into theater because I needed some extra college credits.
Okay.
Um which is so bizarre. I got like sucked back in. It's like Al Pacino in Godfather Part 3, he's every time I try to get out, they suck me back in. And it was enticing. um I came in on the technical end of theater, stagecraft and lighting. But it wouldn't be long before I wanted to jump in and act, and I
Yeah.
learned how to do that. But I also thought, great, this is a device for me. If I am gonna act as an adult, in order for me to bridge that gap, I need to learn something. Because apart from it, really, I never I never got to do much of any substance, right? I had the workhorse on the job training. You show up, you do as you're told, you do your bit, you get paid, you go home.
Yeah.
I was reliable, I was dependable. You know, I wasn't Haley Joel Osment, but I could you could always rely on me to not waste your time. I like if I did voiceover work, it was one or two takes for each bit. I never fucked around. Like I I did the job. But there's so much nuance and there's so much education that you need. Um, and for me, I don't believe that I was like exceptionally gifted. I was okay at it. I
Yeah.
was dependable. I would do the job, but I don't think I was a craftsman, right? So theater provided me an opportunity to study the work after I did the work. Backwards and crazy. But again, like reading the book, there's context now. Now I know that if I'm an adult, I will have some tools now that will allow me to try other things, allow me to spread my wings a little bit. But I found a home in theater, really. I learned that I could sing. Um, and I studied that. Thought, okay, cool. Maybe I'll try opera. Maybe I'll try musical theater. Um, can't dance for shit though. So, I can't be a triple threat because I can't move. Um,
Hey,
but
singing's
put me in
still a
Les,
hard gift.
hey, put me in Les Mis where you just stand there and sing. Fine. Um, so I did that for a while. And then I think by the time my daughter arrived, who's 16 now, um, it took me a really long time of waiting between jobs to realize, you know what? I can't be the dad I want to be, especially since I grew up without one. I wanted to make sure that I was present and I was dependable and I could be a provider. I didn't want to roll the dice and do the crapshoot. And looking back, having, 25 years of work, a career,
Yeah.
um, not stardom, or fame, but a career. I mean, I've got a pension, I've got everything I need to retire. Um, it's time for the next chapter, right? So I actually did more technical theater. I did lighting design. I was a master electrician at a few venues in LA. I was the lighting guy, you know, um, and at least it allowed me to continue to work in the medium.
Of course,
which is
yeah,
great.
yeah.
But as my daughter starts, having more needs, and my wife and I were passing ships, that's just not a recipe for success, at least not for us. So I kind of backed away from all of that entirely. So really, um, it had been 10 years between my last gig and even that cameo in chapter two.
Wow.
And yeah, and nothing since. I just can't. It's just hard for me to reconcile now. It's a different animal than when I was working a lot. There's It's so saturated. Now, on the flip side, there is a whole hell of a lot more opportunity now than there
Yeah, because
was
of
when I
streaming and
was
stuff.
doing.
Yeah.
You've got all these streaming services. You've got, you know, cable. Back in my day, you had 50 channels, but none of them were union. Like there were never any union jobs for that,
Okay.
and it's a big no no. It's a big no no. Once you're a member of the union, you don't work non union. Um, so you had 4 channels that did original programming, and that's it. That's it. So, so now there's a whole hell of a lot more opportunity, but it's so impersonal. The casting to me is so impersonal. Now it's about thumbnails being submitted by agents and casting directors looking at thumbnails and clicking the check mark saying, yes, I'll
Oh
see
yeah,
them.
yeah.
And in my day, back in my day, well, let me take my teeth out. Um, Seriously, you could go in and do something completely unexpected. Though the casting game is the same. You have an idea. The casting director has an idea of what they want, but sometimes you get a chance to do something that changes their opinion.
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many jobs I got that were a result of me doing something else. I didn't get the role that they wanted me for, but I did this instead because I did something different. That shit's gone. That that stuff doesn't happen anymore.
no, I agree. You
I
see
don't.
the same names pop up every movie, so
Yeah,
it's
and there's just no justice. And that, I mean, that's the thing. There's never really been any justice. Um but now there's really no justice.
no,
I
I
mean,
agree.
yeah, you no. It's not for the faint of heart anymore. I know people that I've worked with in theater who have gone to Juilliard, the most prestigious acting school in the United States. Um and they have a good go for a while, do some regional theater, and then they're done. And it just blows my mind because these are the best of the best. These are people that could act, sing, dance circles around me,
Yeah,
cry circles around me, and they're pushed out because there's no justice. So why am I going to do that? If
yeah,
um if I'm ever lucky enough to have a phone call or an Instagram chat with someone like Andy again, who will let me just come in and fuck around for a day or two,
yeah,
I'm all for it. I'm all for it because it felt great being back in that saddle, being back in that lane. Um, it felt great, and I realized what I really missed.
yeah.
I
No,
missed
I get
that
it.
work,
Yeah,
but I can't justify sacrificing the life I have now to pursue that. And if you do pursue that, you've got to pursue it, and there's no guarantee, you know. So that it's not for me, not for me.
I don't blame you. You've done your time. You've realized what it is, and you've pulled yourself away. So
Absolutely,
that's the best way.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, better than being pulled away or,
yes.
discovered with my face buried in a pile of cocaine. Uh, you know, it's I think the quiet exit was the best exit.
Yeah, well, you've done it in your own terms, like you just said. It's the best way. You're in
Right.
control of your destiny and your future.
But without Seinfeld's money, unfortunately.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, just final question I wanted to ask, and that is this is it related and kind of a weird question to end on. You know, do you ever interact with the older people you've worked with on the ItCast, your older versions?
No. No, I mean, um, I know Marlon worked with Tim Reed a year or so later on Sister Sister. I know
Okay,
they worked together. Um, but I think that's where the buck stops. I know Adam and I were at a convention in Indianapolis in 2019, before the world ended, and Dennis Christopher was there, and that was great. It
that's
was
good.
so cool to reminisce with Dennis Christopher. Um, and I know Annette O'Toole, she's got other things going on. She doesn't really do the whole nostalgia thing.
Fair enough.
Um, but yeah, I mean, apart from that, I think the only real meeting, I mean, I saw John Ritter shortly before he died. He was doing a play in North Hollywood,
Okay.
and I stage doored it, and we chatted for a little while, and then went our separate ways. Um, Funny story about Tim Curry. I was doing a musical in LA, and I was working as a messenger during the day, and I got a text to go pick up a package at Tim Curry's house.
Oh,
I
wow.
thought, the Tim Curry? And then I'm scrolling down. It says, no, do not disturb the occupant. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's the Tim Curry. I'm going, and I'm disturbing the occupant. So I show up there. Yeah, I show up there, and it says, the text says that the package is in the mailbox. So I go, okay, cool. I'm going to go to the mailbox, and I'm still going to ring the doorbell. I don't care if I lose my job over this. I'd love to see Tim Curry again. I knock on the door, and Marsh opens the door, and we have this like, oh my God, Tim, you know. So Tim comes out, and we just shot the shit for like 30 minutes, an hour about
Wow.
what happened since and what he's doing. And he was about to start Spamalot, the musical on Broadway.
Yeah.
It was a Monty Python musical. And David Hyde Pierce and I actually um, had the same voice teacher at the time. So it was kind of cool to have that connection. I know I'd show up early just so I could hear David Hyde Pierce rehearsing songs from a musical that hasn't come out yet, right? Um, anyway, it was super cool, at the end of the day, though, it was a little humiliating because I'm sitting here holding his mail that I'm supposed to take to his accountant so bills get paid. It's a little humiliating, but it was nice for a moment, and it was great to see him. He was so good. He was just as generous as he was when I'd worked with him 10 years before.
Was this pre his illness?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay,
for
right, okay,
sure.
right,
Oh,
okay.
for sure. Yeah. I don't remember off the top. Wow, flying hippo. I don't remember off the top of my head when that happened,
I
but
think it
I
was
think he
oh
was
08.
just
Was it about oh 08, something like that?
he was just doing it was like a reboot of an old American show called Family Affair, and he
Okay.
was the butler, right? I don't think it lasted. I think they just did one season. But yeah, it was it was great, and he was funny as hell, and yeah, definitely pre-illness.
Okay, cool. That's amazing. I'm really cool. It's really amazing that you got to see him again. After you said after your time on it. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
awesome. Have you seen him
that was
since?
good.
Like since then?
No,
Okay.
everyone else has though. Everyone else has. Like I know Marlon, he just did a show in Seattle, and I know Marlon and Adam and Ben went just to go see him. And they've done that a couple times. There was a show in New Jersey that he did several years ago, and they went to go see him just to say hi. Um, but now I think it's just so hard. Like I did Monster Palooza in June in Pasadena at the convention center, which is a large enough space in its own right. The Civic Auditorium was next door, and they had to do his stuff at the Civic Auditorium just to keep the crowd controlled.
Yeah, that was the
Um,
same at the Full of Horror. He had his own section in the building. So
yeah, I
yeah.
mean that's just part and parcel how it is. So, um, I was only there the one night, so I couldn't just um I was just there the one night, so I couldn't, just get up and leave and walk across the
Yeah.
complex to maybe have a photo moment with him. I would prefer something, more meaningful. But, it's not in the cards. Not in the
Nah, I get it.
cards.
I'm sure you might
Yeah,
meet him one day again. As a
sure.
I know I said that was the final question, but this isn't really a question. But would you be able to recite the lovely poem you did in it?
Oh, of course, man. How's it go? Yes. Your hair is winter fire, January embers. My heart burns there too.
So brilliant. Thank you for that.
No worries. No
And
worries at
Brandon, you've
all.
been a joy to have on the channel. Thank you for all the issues
No,
that we've had, and stuff. But
no, it's fun. I mean, it's still it's still new technology.
of course.
Uh, and if it's right every time, what fun is it?
No, exactly. But it helps when people like yourself are respectful and you understand that those issues exist. I mean,
It is what it is.
I've not had any issues before, with people, but just saying.
Right. And it's only 3:30 in the morning where you are right now. So
Yeah, only 3:30. I'm just gonna stay up now because
yeah,
it's nearly the next day. What is the
yeah,
next
you
day?
might as well. You might as
Yeah,
well have
but
a bowl of cereal and start your day.
exactly. Early bird gets the worm.
That's the worm. That's
But
right.
yeah, it's been a honestly, it's been a true privilege to meet you because, as I said, huge fan, and
Awesome.
it's just amazing. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
No worries, and like I said, I hope I maybe see you once again at a convention one day, and hopefully I catch up with the other losers one day. It's so weird saying that.
I would love that.
All the best with your podcast and your work and everything
Thank
else.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
and
It's
maybe we'll,
I'm new at the podcast thing. So it's great. It's like I'm learning. I feel like I'm learning a whole new skill, and to me, that's super fun.
yeah, that's the best way to be. You're just gonna throw yourself in the deep end. You learn as you go, and
All right,
you're the best at knowing what to do. You throw yourself in the deep end as an actor, and look at you now.
right,
You
right,
look,
right.
yeah,
Exactly.
so yeah. Anyway, thanks again, and all the best to you.
Hey, thanks, man. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, talk to you. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.